IVM.
If you're broke, if you need money, if you don't have a wallet, you don't have a financial portfolio, don't bother. There's no hope for you. Or is there? His name is Anupam Gupta. Paisa, Vaisa, but don't ask him for money. I asked, he gave me nothing. New episodes out on the IVM podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcast from. Kripaya dhyan dijiye. The language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen, yaar, don't be so conservative. Yes, it's called Cock and Bull. Yes, we're still here. Yes, lockdown continues. Yes, lockdown is forever. Yes, we voted the government in. Yes, forget all that. My rant is a little different. I have achieved a world record. I think in weight training we call it PRs, the personal record. But in other things I just call it world record. And that is, I have had 7 baths every single day for the last month. And I have never taken over 2 minutes for all 7. So that means if you do your simple maths, I'm able to bathe in less than 15 to 16 seconds per bath. And I bathe properly, head to toe. Because I don't use soap, but then, times are hard and I don't want to waste money. But I am extremely clean, and it's all because of the heat.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.
So I'm going to just quickly introduce our panel. We are joined by one of the greatest of all time, Mr. Abhi Chandani. No relation to Sanjay Chandani, who used to swim with me back in the day in YMCA, I'm sure. And we've also got Silvery back. Well, not back. We're not going anywhere. And Amit is moving around. If you can see this, see the visuals, Amit is moving around a bit like his namesake. Can't seem to pin him down. Amit, ruko, beta.
Yes. Now I'm here. I just needed to figure out my Wi-Fi situations.
Okay, right. So let's start with this. Tushar is our guest for the day. Tushar's show, of course, which is an award-winning show. It's already reached Emmy and Grammy potential. I don't know which one applies.
I think
but it's Uncle Please Sit, right?
Listen to the podcast on the IVM network.
Yes, it is.
The 25 others. But yeah.
You don't have to tell me. We know this. But good plug. And well done. Yes.
I like how Cyrus said the greatest ever and then forgot my first name.
No, I didn't forget your first name. I forgot the name of the show. So I was trying to look at the show. Give me that much that I'll get through Tushar Abhichandani without a mistake, and then I'll fuck up.
Tough times.
So actually, I even remember Uncle Please Sit, but I didn't know it was Sit Please or Please Sit. So I was thinking, let me just make sure I get it correct because we're plugging. Now we've plugged it in all the wrong ways possible. So I think
we'll send you a hamper.
Hey, where's Joel? Where's the partner, Mr. Hamper?
He's actually in Hyderabad.
Right. Yeah.
And we obviously cannot communicate with people in Hyderabad.
We should not.
Yes, it is. It's not just a physical lockdown; it's also a digital lockdown.
It looks like a setup gag now. Looks like we spent time over this one. Yeah. So anyway, quickly, I'll just start with my bath issue and then we'll go into the main thing. So let me start with the bath issue first as I search for Amit's lovely scalp. It's not like really a joke or a silly thing to bring up because I'm seriously saying the heat is so much. We have nothing to do. I walk dogs 5 to 6 times a day. So every time I go even for 2 minutes, I have to come out and bathe because I'm sweating. And so there's no other option. But in that, I've discovered that you don't need to bathe for long. We wasted too much water over 20-minute baths. A good 15, 20-second bath, just under the shower, right time, in and out. Just cover the armpits and the groin. I don't even do the groin because nobody looks at that area anymore and inspects it. I just do the armpits because that can cause trouble in a family room. And I'm out. So this is my gift to everybody. Please, you can master it. You don't need more than 20 seconds to have a good bath. If you've got arthritis, 25, 26, because, obviously moving arm and leg takes a little time.
I like how much water you're conserving, man. It's very good. You're actually saving the planet. And also the fact that you're not using soap. You're saving all the soap for hand washing.
Soap makes sense if you're in a prison and you need a lover. It makes no sense outside that area.
And clearly, love left a long time ago.
And may I just tell you mentioned hand washing? Not a fan, huh? Personally, but stay safe and do the right thing. The government is very good, and the world's governments are very good when they say clean everything. I'm one of those guys who hated people who wash their hands before eating. All my life,
My favorite part is, whenever anyone mentions anything that is against Corona guidelines, everyone's like, but, this is just an opinion. You actually do what you should be doing.
It's the equivalent. It's the equivalent of having a black friend in America. But I have a black friend.
I'm not a racist, but we're using that. I think we're using that formulation for so many different things, right?
Yeah.
So over the last few days, I've been talking to people about this, right? We've spoken about this a couple of times on the podcast before, but this has been coming up over and over again. We're not allowed to complain because we live comfortable lives. That's annoying.
Well, that's the reverse elitism issue. But I got to bring it in here quickly. Silvery, you mentioned it as well. We cannot criticize the Maharashtra government. They put out some edict of some kind till June 8th, apparently. You can't make direct criticisms. Like, for example, if you believe this lockdown is now rubbish and just unnecessarily going on, that would be wrong of you to say it.
You can say the central government's lockdown is terrible.
Yeah. When you leave the Maharashtra district,
But it's kind of strange. Do you guys know Shamika Ravi? Have you heard about this whole thing? This was kind of nuts, right? The way this whole thing went down, right? In the sense that there was plagiarism in one of our articles, which she acknowledged. But everybody is throwing out all of the stuff that she's been doing for the last 2 months over giving us data around this and making sense of the data. And that stuff's all still true. That stuff's not true. But it's just apparently it's because she has been saying that the Maharashtra government's doing a terrible job, and now a bunch of people are coming after her because of that.
Yeah,
but that's the nature of Twitter, right? You discover a flaw in someone and then you just go for it.
Yeah,
it reversed itself with Donald Trump, huh?
But
it was a flaw on Twitter, and now he's gone for it. So that's a reverse.
Donald Trump is another entity, no?
I love that man. Stop it. I will not hear a bad word about him. He's against clubs. He's against lockdowns. He thinks everything's fun. He's my leader. I want to be with him. I go to the beach. I want to play golf. I walk my dog.
The weird thing is he's taking the malaria medicine every day, and every doctor's like, heart attack, buddy.
Maybe he's a cheapskate. Maybe he's a cheapskate. You know those guys who take one medicine for everything? If it doesn't cure you, it'll just make you stronger. That's what he said.
Approach with Crossin. No, but
take a Crossin, yes.
I love those stories. Those are the greats of our time, man. They just
and if it's desi dawai, it's always like, just have something and have haldi with it.
Haldi.
My mother used to pat me on the back really hard every time I had a digestion issue. There's no correlation to hitting the back in whatever stomach ache.
Cyrus, it's the vibrations too. It's the vibrations that will heal you.
Yes.
And her Maki Mamta, as Bollywood likes to say.
Or Maki something else if you're looking at the government, but we won't criticize.
No. Central, not state.
Absolutely. In fact, let's start with that. The track to the central and the politicking that's going on between the central and the state. It already started with the railway minister going after the chief minister. But I have it on good authority that the chief minister is now isolated slightly. That he wants the lockdown to continue. But NCP, Shiv Sena, obviously BJP are going to go against anything he says. And the industrialist lobby and the influential people's lobby, if you want to call it that, are all telling him, sir, please partial lockdown KGI. And there's no step in that direction.
But so, from what I read a couple of things around this, right? So 2 things that around the extension that is going to be announced in the next few days, that is that they're going to kind of limit it to the 13 cities that are most affected, right? Everything else, they will start opening up in much more aggressive.
Amit, what does that mean?
So 13 cities are extremely are where most of the cases are. 70% of the cases in India come from 13 cities, right? Bombay, Delhi,
Chennai.
Pune, Chennai. I think Jaipur is in there. Ahmedabad. Yeah. So these are the cities where the lockdown is going to continue going forward, but the rest of the places they will open up. But even in these cities,
but without those eminent cities you mentioned, what is left of India? No disrespect, but
quite a bit.
Pakistan, you take out Lahore and Karachi, and really, Peshawar will hold them up.
Yeah, the giant chunk of GDP is affected, but I think it's. Also the thing is, all of this is so much speculation.
It is.
Before every lockdown, we've heard, ye hoga, and then
everybody's the CM. Yeah.
Everybody's the CM. And I think
these WhatsApps are now actually fun. I know they're banned and all that, but they're fun because you spend your whole day trying to figure out with your friends and people around, relatives, ki ye hai, sahi hai ya nahi hai. Just that little bit is like a little quiz for the day. And I have a lot of fun with them.
No, and plus the thing with now with the whole lockdown situation is like you don't know. Does it make sense to keep going or does it make sense to open up? Because we're also reaching a point where people are losing jobs. I mean, they started losing jobs in the first.
May I answer the question? It has to open up. It just has to open up.
It has to.
We're going to die either way. If we're going to die either way, let's try and die where we have a fighting chance.
Yeah.
We're just going to stay in.
You know what, my biggest problem with the government's communication, the central government's, not Maharashtra government, communication has been that the thing is you haven't come on TV and said, maintain 6 feet distance. All of you wear a mask. All of you do X. Everyone's just like giving you vague terms. I'm like, tell everyone, 6 feet dur raho ek dusre se, ye karo, wo karo. Give actual guidelines. And I think that will be so much more helpful. And maybe we can then have some sort of activity.
They are relying too much on Akshay Kumar. That's the problem. Expect him to deliver all the messages and he can't do so much. He can only do this much. Let's be fair.
Clearly, obviously.
But no, I think that's true, right? I mean, the communication has absolutely been unclear about, like, what are the basic guidelines there are. I think they should open with, like, exceptions, right? Don't open movie theaters, don't open public gatherings. Well, one thing I read in the articles that Antriksh said is that they're going to open religious places before opening anything else. Like, all temples and stuff are going to open. I'm just like,
in Karnataka, they've announced early June.
Yeah, they already open.
Bro, this is all populist cards that you want to play. Let's face it. That's what I'm saying. It's all selective stuff. Nobody really cares deep down. It's just gone on too long.
If you're going to open temples, you open the country. That to me is just like because we'll look at the biggest super spreader events that we know about.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like in India, it was the Tablighi Jamaat stuff. Yeah. Right. In Korea, it was that mega church. Yeah. In Florida, there was another mega church. Right. Yeah. In Malaysia, it was a congregation of some nature. I'm not sure what it was.
All right. So now you are both anti-Islam and anti-Christianity. Amit?
I don't know at this point in time if there has been like a super spreader event in a Hindu temple.
In London, it happened in London. I think was, I don't remember which one of the sects.
Gurudwara, I think, had a couple of incidents.
Gurudwara had a...
Gurudwara from Nanded.
Yes.
There was a point where when they went back to Punjab, I think they account for those particular days.
Like 90% of the infections.
Yeah. Huge chunk of the infections.
Perhaps.
And then there was a temple in London where I think there was the funeral and a bunch of people turned up.
Yeah.
And then, like,
there was choir practice in Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, like a religious choir practice. So it is. These are very dangerous spaces for
spring break in America, which is the religion of a lot of college.
That is true. That is also a religious activity, isn't it?
There was the open beach in LA.
They let Mardi Gras happen, dude.
They did let Mardi Gras happen.
That's insane.
It was ridiculous.
Did they follow any? So in Mardi Gras, how can you follow any 6 feet apart?
You cannot.
Stoned and all the hot.
You cannot.
I was, dude. America is on some other level because I remember seeing this tweet the other day of this prominent sort of journalist, and she said, my daughter lives in Nashville, and she had H1N1 a couple of years, swine flu a couple of years ago, and she was like on a ventilator and stuff, and she survived, but she's petrified of this thing. So she goes around with a mask, obviously. So she's like, after she was served at at some place where she was picking up something, the cashier is like, oh my God, liberal pussy. Like, what the hell? The person is wearing a mask. So these people are opposed to mask. They're like, it's against my freedom. It's against my constitutional right. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people?
Yeah, so people are idiots, right? I was listening to Michael Lewis, the guy who wrote Moneyball and The Big Short and all that, right? I was listening to him on a podcast. They were talking about what were some of the steps that could have been taken to kind of just make this a lot less, right? And masks, right? I mean, like, you look at what's happening in Czechoslovakia, you look at what's happening in Hong Kong, you look at what's happening in Korea, all these places, masks are like the number one kind of thing, right?
These places you mentioned were very disciplined with the mask. As in, it's a personal thing, right? If all the citizens sort of do it, that's their way to go ahead.
And the thing with the mask is, you're not protecting yourself with the mask, you're protecting other people. So you have to communicate that.
And it's a 2-in-1 in India because many people don't look nice. You're wearing the mask, you got to, that thing is out of your head from early morning.
Which reminds me, there's actually a shop in Kerala that's selling masks
with faces,
with printed faces. I'm like, why would you do that? Or at least print someone else's face. No, so
what about guys like Milind Soman and Dino Moria and John Abraham and all these good-looking men? They'll be very upset if they're given other faces. Like, this is what works for them.
Since you mentioned Milind Soman, did you see that he deleted his TikTok account?
Why?
Because he's anti-China these days.
That's the listing.
How can you be anti-China? China gives you so much. All the best sex toys is China. Until the government says
You know what I appreciate is that Milind must have deleted TikTok while using his manufactured in China phone.
Yes, fair enough. Of course. Yeah. Of course. No, it's one of the things that drives me insane about this shit, right? I mean, like when people talk about ban China, like it's been going like nuts, right? There was that the liberal icon who, like in the climate change guy, who sits in Ladakh, he put out like some 8-9 minute video. Yeah, and people were like, so and now you're seeing boycott China on the liberal side, you're seeing boycott China on conservative side, and it's just the dumbest fucking political.
There was also a bit of a distraction on a basic philosophical level that you pretend to go to war and 2 countries with big issues happening, or maybe 3, America trying to interfere. Suddenly that takes away. For a little while, the news actually went in that direction, and you forget about the COVID ban.
But I mean, it's such a nonsensical idea because we are not going to ban Chinese products in India. We cannot ban Chinese products in India. We should not.
3 days, and that's it's never going to last.
No, but see, I mean, like this is basic trade logic, right? I mean, like you want the cheapest possible goods for the best possible outcomes, right? Cheaper goods from manufacturing come from China today. So are you saying that instead of spending 5 rupees for a spoon, I should start spending 9 rupees for a spoon? I'm sorry, I'm just looking at what's in front of me right now.
But as a good Hindu vegetarian, why are you using a spoon? Aisa karo.
That's true.
Desi, as the Pradhan Mantri said, we keep it desi.
For people who can't see this, Cyrus is saying, haath se khao.
Oh, you can't see? I'm so sorry. That's right, it's an audio podcast. Damn you, Mr. Bichirani. How dare you?
There was a replacement app. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but
Mitro.
Yeah, Mitro, correct. Turned out that it's an app that they was trying to capitalize on the unpopularity that TikTok is facing right now.
Right.
So they were trying to poach all their clients. But again, India kind of rejected that because they found out that it actually originates from Pakistan, the app, which is bought over.
An Indian company bought the app from a Pakistani engineer.
Yeah. It's just like
This is actually a great example of the supply chain thing. So like even if you're manufacturing in India, there's a good chance that the screw that you're using was made in China.
Exactly.
Or the cloth that you're using was made in China.
Really, this posturing about nationalism is such a waste of time. I mean, if they're doing commerce between the person who sold the app and who bought the app from across the border, what the hell happened to my cricket matches? Let them bloody play cricket. What's the big difference?
Also, my point is, why is your approach boycott? Why is your approach not let's become an awesome manufacturing or whatever place?
Exactly.
Let's overtake Asia and the world.
Let's take their money.
Yeah, that's the solution. How do we go there?
Tushar, I respect that. Immediately you're looking business. Business actually is the most secular thing in the world. If people just apply their minds to business, you don't think about other things. It's all about how to make more money, how to get more profit.
Yeah.
And that's
the right way. Take their money. Why you're screwing yourself?
You are from Pakistan. I don't want your money. Rubbish. Take the money. Enjoy the kebabs. That's what life is all about.
We already addressed it a bit. We should talk about Trump getting kind of censored by Twitter. Did you guys read about this?
Yeah.
The problem is that there was a police shooting that happened. So not a police shooting,
Police brutality.
A police brutality. Correct.
A police kneeling. Let's call it a kneeling.
George Floyd.
George Floyd, correct.
George Floyd was on the floor saying, I'm dying or whatever. The guy kept his knee on. I don't want any brickbats for this, but I don't think the intent by the white policeman was to kill him. Okay.
No, it clearly didn't intend to kill him, but I mean, like, that doesn't matter.
It's a systemic problem with police brutality.
Yeah, what do you do that to
It's a very touchy issue. Ask Amit. Amit is the American here. It's such a bloody touchy issue that generally they take even more care when they're trying to, get into the face of a black man and a black man.
No, not at all.
But Amit, with all the phones that are out there of late, they have been a little ginger. No. When these things happen, it's against the right.
How many have been convicted? How many cops have been convicted?
Yeah, it's
very
20 years.
Yeah, it's still 20 years. Look at the last year or so, because what's happening now is that immediately the blame game starts. They're doing an Indian thing, if you ask me. Immediately the guy on top, the commissioner or the mayor say, okay, get rid of those 4. So
but see, what happens is, like, for example, they also, because America has that jury system, no?
Yeah.
So that jury system is manipulated easily. That's why a cop never gets convicted.
Yeah.
No, and I think it's not just about that, right? I mean, like, there's no question about that. Like, I mean, like, if you look at 2019 stats, right? What was the percentage of people killed by policemen? 39% of the people killed were black. For 55% were white, and the rest were others, right?
And
now,
look at the
that sounds like more white people are getting killed. But you look at the percentage of population. Black is 10 to 12% of the population, and there are 40% of the people getting killed, right? So, I mean, like, it's clearly an issue.
See, okay, this is blatant racism. This is blatant racism. Did you guys follow the New York park story? What happened in the park with the lady and the dog?
Yeah.
And the dog and the black gentleman asked her to put the dog in the leash. He was bird watching. Bird as in, not our birds, the ones that actually fly.
No.
And so in that interaction, she calls the police and uses the word African-American man threatening me. And over that, the fact that she said that instead of just saying a man is threatening me. So I don't know. Now, are we going too far with it, or is that the subtle racism which is really the thing?
It was a clear case of sort of dog whistling, na? Where you're literally like, ye dekho, mujhe threat hai, I have a threat on me, plus this person here is a black man. Because you know that we get a bigger reaction.
But in her language, technically speaking, will you be able to hang her on that? I mean,
no, you won't have to hang her.
I'll tell you what you can hang her for, right? Not hang her for that. And I mean, like, when I saw the thing, I was appalled by her behavior, right? I mean, like, this is what you can hang her for. You can hang her for the fact that she used her own position of privilege, right, that existed in this particular interaction to basically bully somebody. She was bullying that guy because she was completely in the wrong.
Guys, you see it from the beginning. The beginning is that he sort of was threatening her.
No. She was in the wrong. She was in a park.
So she was in the wrong, but
she is not allowed to have.
So she got aggressive back with him. That's the actual sequence.
No, she was in the wrong.
Okay, it's like this, Amit. If you're on the road and you're littering, and I tell you don't litter, you're in the wrong. But I'm the one who starts the intent to be aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
No, but see, the thing is, Cyrus, you are a dog lover. You don't look at this the way other people.
No, I'm not getting to the dog thing. I'm going to take any other example. Forget the dog.
No, but he wanted her to leash the dog because this is a park which is meant for bird watching. This is a park where the dogs are supposed to be leashed and not running after birds.
Correct. But in his attitude and his talk down that happened, she talked down back to him. It's all about communication. I'm looking at it from another perspective. I'm just saying
but from whatever I heard of him saying, he was fairly polite with what he was saying.
That's him talking to reporters afterwards.
He maintained his distance also.
Even the
video
but it's all intimidating stuff, Amit. You take out the video while you're talking to your neighbor and you're filming them. That's an act of aggression. Just because he's smart enough to talk, and he's probably a gentleman. Okay, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
He's a comic book artist. I think he works for Marvel or something like that. He's like a very well-known figure in that sense.
Fair enough, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, do they overreact? Because, it's just, what do you expect people? Human beings are terrible people. We're all racist in some way, form, or shape here. So I just, where do you draw the line then? She just said African-American. If it was a Chinese or Indian guy, she probably would have said Chinese or Indian guy, right?
No, there's a man threatening me, right? Why would you say African-American? I don't understand. Why would you say race? Would you say this like there's a Hindu man,
but it's Muslim man? It's just an identifier.
Hindu man is a
no. We don't say Hindu man, Muslim man. What we say over here is, what we say over here is a man of a certain community.
What if he was a Sikh man with a turban, for example? You might immediately say Sardar, because you might.
Why would you?
So that doesn't mean you're anti-Sikh.
No, she's not anti, but it's a clear case of dog whistling where she implies that if she says, it seems that when she says that it's an African-American man, there will be greater urgency with the police.
Yeah, so now that happens. The moment she said that, it's just, she got sacked, which is oof. Frankly.
Yeah, I don't know about that, right? You're right in that.
That's complicated. But yeah.
That's complicated because again, you don't necessarily deserve to be fired for something like this, but raked over the coals in public, I don't see an issue with that.
I just find these areas very gray. I think if you are so oversensitive and react to everything, there's no end to it, honestly. What the hell? I won't be able to talk in public again. I'm such a fuckhead.
Cyrus, I don't think I'm oversensitive about these things, right? I think that I generally fall on the side of people are allowed to say what they want to say. But I also think that there is in some cases, right, when we're talking about this park incident particularly, right? When you see it, you know it, right? You know that this woman basically knew that she's like, how dare this fucker tell me something? How dare this guy tell me something?
Okay, so your premise is that if it was a white guy, exactly the same age, same background, but white, she would not have called the cops. It would have just been a banter between two of them.
I think it probably would have been. I think it could have been. Yeah, it really felt like the kind of it just that attitude was just like it just.
That I'll show you you're black and the system will undermine you.
I don't know if she would even tell herself that I'll show you you're black, but that's her reaction.
Subconscious.
That's a reaction, right? Because she's living in New York City. She's working for Franklin Templeton. She's clearly somebody who is like urbane in that sense, right? So you're not going to tell yourself that, how dare this black guy tell me something like that? But, that's the attitude that came out, right? It felt really, really nasty to me, right?
Donald Trump made the right comment. He said, look, I don't know why she said that. It would be one thing if he was a Mexican, then, I understand that, but let's just take a break. I apologize. Hey, gringo, let's take a break. We come back.
Beta, did you know 79% of all scientists in NASA are Indian only?
देखो, India में tax सिर्फ middle class भरती है. Everyone is just enjoying free यार.
आजकल के youngsters are only interested in partying and enjoying. उनको देश की पड़ी ही नहीं है.
बेटा तुम बस शादी कर लो, उसके बाद तो you can enjoy life like anything.
I will tell you what this country needs. This country needs 15 years of dictatorship. That is the only way to become a superpower. See the Chinese, how much they've progressed.
सुनो, तुमने ये WhatsApp forward देखा?
So what's common between all of these statements?
They're all absolutely rubbish.
Fake WhatsApp forwards that spread like wildfire.
And statements that defy any logic.
We are here to debunk them all.
Way of family WhatsApp groups, worst nightmare. Where what happens when you read a book.
Basically, we're just a bunch of guys who want to cut through the bullshit of everyone saying this, how it won't be true.
So that the next time someone confidently squeezes out some WhatsApp or Twitter BS, you can look them dead in the eye and go, Uncle, please sit.
So join me, Joel.
And me, Tushar.
Every Mondays for a fresh new episode of Uncle, Please Sit.
All right, back here on Cock and Bull, the four knights of the realm holding India's head high, I suppose. As in high because we can now order alcohol. So that's at least.
Yeah. I went to the store yesterday. I saw the liquor store open next door. There was no line also. I was so tempted.
What are you saying? No line?
No line. I was so tempted to buy
something. Why don't you run and buy?
I don't really drink that much.
Now, save the nation. The tax will help the nation.
That is true. I was so tempted. I was so tempted, man.
Sell it in the black market there now. Yeah. People still can't have access to it and stuff. Silvery, have you got booze for the family?
We've had booze this entire time, actually.
You bloody Punjabis, what are you all doing? Why are we in lockdown? Your weddings are carrying on, parties are happening. What's going on?
Yeah, we have opened like this massive 2-liter bottle of Black Label that we have.
Oh my God.
So that's what we've been doing.
So that's just dad and you? How many people are there?
There are 5 people at home.
So how long is a 2-liter bottle going to last here?
So we had more also. We just, because this is like the last whiskey that's left. So we opened finally the 2-liter bottle, which we were saving for like a grand occasion in the family or something.
Well, it is a grand occasion.
Yeah, this is it now, I guess.
One more week. Let's celebrate, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, we should just quickly finish this Trump thing. So basically, first, the Twitter basically censored him when he addressed the COVID-19 situation. He was saying something about COVID-19 and he said some obviously false information, and Twitter basically
some scientific facts of his own.
Yeah, correct. So they basically fact-checked him. And then like a few days after that, he tweeted something about the George Floyd incident and the riots that came in the aftermath.
Use that line. You have that line? When the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Yeah.
Wow. That is poetic and obscene at the same time. Yeah.
But it's an old line. It's not a new line, right? It's not he made that up.
To use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then they censored him again, essentially. But they still made it available, the tweet. But they said, okay, we have to essentially censor this, like one line of censoring. Basically, you just click on like, please.
So as a mature individual, he's gone into regulation mode.
Basically.
Well, so he did it before only, right? So so just to lay some context for everybody, right? So there's Section 230 of the U.S. Communications Act, right? Mm-hmm. What that section says is that a platform like Twitter or Facebook or Reddit or YouTube or any of these, there's a difference between a platform and a magazine or a publisher. Right? Mm-hmm. And so these guys are acting as a platform. When they're acting as a platform, they're protected from liability. Nobody can sue them for the content that's on there. You can sue the person who posted, not the platform itself. Now, the argument that Donald Trump is making, the specious argument that Donald Trump is making, is that by censoring what he is saying, they are now acting as a publisher, no longer acting as a platform. And because of that, they should not get the protection of being a platform, and they should now be...
But that argument holds some water.
No, it doesn't.
Frankly.
No, it doesn't.
Why? The moment they censor, how are you a platform? If you're just giving you a platform, then you're a neutral person.
So then is child porn okay on these platforms?
Good point. But yes, if you ask me, technically, yes. Once they say we're only a platform, we provide the platform and you take your hands off it.
Then, I mean, then we're stuck with
it. So then it's not a platform. You got to say there's a platform, but it's also got regulatory powers of sorts for child porn, for terrorism, for anti-religious. Yeah.
So there is an exception of good faith exceptions in terms of what they are allowed to pull off. And this is supposed to cover things like incitements to violence, child pornography, malicious facts. This is supposed to push that kind of stuff in the public interest.
Item
right?
numbers. And there's so many things that should be banned. Yeah.
I guess. But so the exception is there, and they're saying that what Twitter is doing is primarily censoring or pulling down right-wing stuff, which is kind of crazy in its own way, right? Because I feel like every person I speak to, if you're on the right, you feel like the left wing is overrepresented on Twitter, and if you're on the left, you feel like the right wing is overrepresented.
Yeah, I don't think that's correct, because look at the trolling that happens here. The right-wing trolls are more loud and more vocal and more visible than anybody else, especially on Twitter. Yeah, sorry?
I know, and this is standard right-wing trope, the playing victim thing after, it's the bully thing, right? They bully you and then you say something, you're like, how can you say this to us?
Yeah, but coming back to Donald Trump, what I love about him is that he reacts. I just find it so unstatesmanlike, and that's like a breath of fresh air.
No, that's
no other statesman in the history of the world will react to every little thing that's going on.
That's the
They focus on big problems like COVID or nuclear proliferation or, whatever else. I mean, what is bigger than what's going on right now? But he's always going to look right and left to the guy asking a question in a press conference, lose his mind and time over that, Twitter, and then get into a battle with Twitter, and that's amazing that he can be.
It feels like we selected an angry society uncle and made him a president. Like these people.
He's just venting all the time. You're right.
तुमने ऐसा कैसे बोला मेरे बारे में?
How can you talk like that? If he spoke Hindi, we nailed him. Donald, please. North India never says Donald.
Donald Thakkar.
Doland.
We had a Donald in MTV, so I know.
Doland actually.
Doland, yeah.
Doland is Gujarat. Come back to Amit Doshi, show close up. His beautiful name. I mean, of all the insults the world could give him, he had to come here to get Doland. The land of plenty. Take that, America. All right.
No, and the thing with Donald Trump's tweets are also that a lot of people are pointing out that if a regular person was tweeting a lot of these things, they would get banned instantly. It's just that because he enjoys privileges because of being the president of that country. That they're not. So that's why they've started putting those disclaimers, Niche,
Tushar, they also know he's a bully. If he was Obama and reacting would be one thing, but he's a bully. And they know that he'll spend all the powers that he has, in the bureaucracy around him to just attack Twitter or the 5 people who run Twitter or whatever. They know that.
Like the Washington Post thing, because Washington Post is owned by Amazon, and then it appears that he made sure that they did not get a government contract that could have actually made them a lot of money.
Yeah, a cloud contract, right? The cloud contract went to Microsoft instead. That's I think that there is an argument either way, right? So Microsoft has always worked better with governments. So I mean, like that is kind of there, but at the same time,
no. But what makes it suspicious is because he kept bringing
exactly. It up. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Because he kept bringing it up, so then it becomes suspicious.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right?
Which is it being a fair process, maybe.
Yeah, no, I don't know if the process is fair or not. Honestly, I don't know that. But the thing is that the arguments I heard at that time, right? There were people who were saying that it's possible that Trump put his finger on the scale, but it's also the truth that Microsoft does better with government contracts than Amazon does.
There's a difference between using government machinery for personal purposes in India and in America. Here it means giving contracts to your cousins, friends, taking a family on a special holiday which are not allowed, getting special privileged car, aeroplane, helicopter, discounts everywhere. That's us.
Being able to get your kids out of
people. Yeah, exactly. Get people out of jail or that.
They also
let me screw you, Mr. Smith. Nobody from nowhere. You abuse me on Twitter, so I'll spend the whole day hearing your tax returns. Looked at. I mean,
this happens in India also. What do you think the enforcement directorate does to people?
Yeah. NDTV will tell you everything.
NDTV, my God, those poor guys.
NDTV is now a legal cell, and there's just a bit that does the news.
Side mein news karte
do you guys think if Trump was ever to, by chance, leave Twitter, it would actually affect the usership of Twitter? The number of users?
He's a star.
Right? Exactly.
Of course.
It's possible that they're egging him on purpose, right? A little bit. Because they know he's not going to leave.
Not harming Twitter's profile, which is the most sometimes of the lot. Yeah, you're right. What do you say, Amit?
No, I would agree with that. I think it's unlikely that they're doing it with that in mind.
But it's having the same effect. Yeah.
But that's the effect.
Wink, nudge. Let's go at him. Yeah, makes sense.
Also, I think they've been taking a lot of shit, right? I mean, listen, let's face facts, right? Jack, who is the CEO of Twitter, lives in San Francisco, which is the most liberal part of America that exists. His entire social circle, his entire bubble, his entire people around him are all going to be hyper-liberal people. they've all got to be giving him shit day in and day out, right? That how are you letting this guy talk like this? Because Donald Trump is like massively influential on Twitter, but he keeps lying about shit. He keeps using it for personal vendetta.
I don't think lying is the right word. I think he invents. It's not like an inventive mind.
What is Obamagate? Nobody knows what Obamagate is.
It's nothing, and he won't even answer that. Right?
No, yeah.
Okay, tell us what is Obamagate. Like, no, that's it.
It's the biggest scandal ever.
You already know.
It's the biggest scandal ever. You know what it is.
It's his name.
But that reminds me of Kejriwal in the old days, actually. Would make promises about exposing people and then nothing would come up.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Pizzagate? Do you guys ever hear about Pizzagate back in like about a few years back? Just when he got elected?
No, and that got people killed and all.
Not killed. Not killed.
Showed up with an assault rifle. Yeah. Someone showed up with an assault rifle. And
but I mean, like I was saying, right? So Jack basically lives in this circle of people, right? And again, the people in the tech space, they're not always liberal per se. They might be conservative, but they'll be the anti-Donald Trump type conservatives, right? Because they're all scientific people mostly, right? And so what you wind up with is like he's in this system where everybody is telling him, how are you letting this go? How are you letting this go? How are you letting this go? And finally, one day he saw what he saw, right? The last one, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, right? I mean, like when you see that, I mean, like that's like honestly, that's beyond the pale as a comment from a president of a country.
Yeah,
that's insane.
I mean, if Narendra Modi said something like that.
No, but if he says that, how dare he then arrest any policeman? Yeah. The moment there's a little bit of, you've endorsed the ability for them to do anything.
Exactly. No, but imagine Narendra Modi said something like that, right? That, I mean, like, if
he would have prefaced it with Mitro. Throw! In the shooting starts. Sorry, go on.
No, but I mean, like, I think as a country we would have collectively lost our shit, right? I mean, like, if he would have said something like that. And
he's much sharper.
He would never say something. No, he would never say something like this. He is much
too sharp to make that kind of mistake.
And he has a much more deliberate sense of public presence. Donald Trump doesn't give a shit, right?
He measures his words. I mean, you can't compare them in that sense. He measures his words. He's planned his speech. Yeah. He's the other end of the spectrum if you look at it. He's not going to go from the hip, just freewheeling. This guy, I think
changes with Modi during elections. Huh?
No,
that's some very problematic.
What happens is I think the megalomania side happens a little bit, and when he's talking, and then he starts believing his myth. So then it does happen. You're right, and some strange figures come out like Alexander in the East and all that. But coming back to Donald Trump. There's just no cure for him now. In November, if they vote him in again, he's a bully. He's been a bully all his life. Even The Apprentice, he just says, you're fired all the time. He's a bully there. He's a bully at work. He listens to nobody. And in many ways, I mean, there's no way he's going to change. So
you mentioned The Apprentice. I read a funny comment somewhere, right? What would have happened, right? So if NBC, who was the network which was on The Apprentice, right? Mm-hmm. They marketed the show in a way which made it seem like Donald Trump was the driving force of that show. Mm-hmm. Right? They marketed that show in a way which made it seem like he's this business guy. Instead, if they had marketed this show in a way where it was like, we're picking a business person to, just basically not made him the center in that way, rather made him somebody who they cast. Would that have changed the perception of him to the point where, because a lot of people who have looked at Donald Trump as a legitimate president or as a legitimate candidate, see that, right? That's his first big public exposure.
But the problem is, Amit, he would not have been in a show where he can't be the alpha.
Exactly.
And because he's that kind of personality. He'd have walked out.
Yeah,
so I don't see that, just look at his life and how he's led it.
Yeah. So
in a sense, he's a strong leader. You can't deny him that. It's just that he's a strong leader with sometimes the maturity of a 9-year-old.
What if he was on Shark Tank instead? Sorry, what was he on Shark Tank instead, right? He'd have been
rude. He'd have been really rude.
His idiocy would have been exposed to a great degree, right? I mean, like you look at Shark Tank right now, and the people who are on Shark Tank are really sharp.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Can't say for sure. But then again, he would share the stage with them.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think.
Because it seemed like until 2016 he was a joke, and then
he was a joke.
That everyone
Apprentice, with all due respect, is like a B-grade fucking TV show for God's sake.
Terrible.
The kind of people, even the celebrities that came on it, like, barring one or two, for God's sake, it was worse than our Big Boss.
No, but the Apprentice, like you saw them, and they sort of did project him as this all-powerful, successful businessman, and you thought, if you had,
and more importantly. He was the face of success so that you want to be like him.
Yeah.
So now you've told America for many seasons that this is the success face. This is it. Yeah. This is what you have to aspire to.
So I'm the only non-comedian here, so I'm sure you've all seen the John Mulaney bet on Trump.
Yeah,
I'll pretend I have by nodding like this. Yes.
Okay. Now, basically, his whole this is that Trump is what a hobo thinks a billionaire is. Like, I will have my name written on towers across the world. Like everything will be gold. I will create my own hairstyle. So basically, Trump is what a hobo thinks a billionaire should be. I'm amazed. I'm the only one who's seen this. I'm kind of.
No, Mulaney has his other bit on Trump also, in which he does not mention Trump's name at all. He just calls him like Trump. This current president is like having a horse running around inside a hospital, and that's the entire metaphor where he just elaborates like,
This is the man who's spoken about grabbing a woman's vagina, in popular conversation. I don't know. That's only his worst crime.
That Ivanka, if she was not my daughter, I would have married her.
There you go.
Yeah, I would date her, yeah.
There you go.
The roast of Donald Trump was happening. The writers for the roast, the comedian writers on the show, the one thing that they could not talk about, so the guest of honor gets to say like a couple of topics that he doesn't want addressed or made fun of for the roast. Maybe it's very personal, like some family member's death or something. The one thing Trump said is, you cannot talk about me having less money than what I say I have. You cannot make fun of that. That was the one
you
thing.
You can call me a incestful child molester.
All that.
That's good. Because I'm happy with that badge.
That roast was brutal. That roast was brutal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I need to find it. Is it on YouTube?
It's very possible.
It's on Twitter.
On Twitter, he's roasting the world.
Hey, we haven't spoken about the biggest tragedy that happened in Bombay, the locust swarm that we had. I'm sure you all got the WhatsApp forward.
Or we didn't have.
Isn't it loci or loci, the plural?
Loci, the loci storm.
The
loci, no? Loci.
How many WhatsApp messages did you guys get about the locust?
So my son asked me, will they attack me if I go to the terrace? I didn't know what to say because I've lived here about 48 years and I've never seen one. But by the rates being what they are, can the loci afford it? Really.
So they're saying the locust swarm hit 5 major states. Mm-hmm. And it entered Maharashtra. It just skipped Bombay. But what happened in Maharashtra?
Because of the COVID, they couldn't handle
it. But what happened is, in some region of Maharashtra, they sprayed it with pesticides. And in that region, because of the spraying, the swarm split in 2. So now some of it is in one state and some of it is in the another state.
Wow. That's like a metaphor for the government.
The part of this tragedy is the advisory is when the locusts come, beat drums. I don't get that, but I'm like, this is so funny.
It is.
Just imagine for our poor chief minister, if he survives, the COVID-19 thing stops finally, and then this starts. Can you imagine? He gets like 24 hours off, and then go back in the home, lockdown.
We're actually fairly lucky with the locust swarm. From what I understand, it's going to affect fruits and stuff like that, but the major crops and stuff aren't being planted for another couple.
So you're saying Parsis won't be affected because we don't eat fruit, so we're safe.
Yeah, so
the eggs are safe, Cyrus. The eggs are safe.
But where they actually go back to, where they migrate finally, they go back home, which is the Locust Sabha. Very bad.
So they're saying that one way to make these locust swarms go away is by blasting very loud music around them.
What choice, but Qawwali?
It's too fucking loud for them.
Yeah. That's very possible also, but not right now. Bombay right now is not.
Just put them on a street in Bendi Bazaar in normal times with the horns blaring. That'll be more than enough.
So farmers have been hiring literally DJs, like local DJs, to blast loudspeaker music in their fields.
What a great alternate source of revenue at a time when
they finally get a market that appreciates them also. Really, otherwise that DJ, ye sunao. Always fighting with the people in the place.
People always complain that DJ kuch karta nahi hai. Now DJ is actually getting rid of the locust.
Exactly. Here, they're getting the village's highest honor.
Oh, and with the drums thing, I'm imagining Shivamani sitting somewhere in the middle of a field, just like losing his shit. And just on the locust fly over.
Yeah, at the same time.
Actually, there's one thing that I wanted to bring up. We haven't talked about good news stories for a while. Okay. I want to share this thing with you. This person in Oregon, USA, has made a website which basically tracks all the good news stories in the world that have come up. So there are different keys. There's green is for news stories, which are like very new. Then there's red, which are like favorites, which have been going viral for a while. And yellow is just regular videos. So
I'm sorry. I'm seeing Cyrus put on his glasses while.
And I also like how there is no good news in Saudi Arabia.
There's no good news in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia and Iraq, nothing. कुछ अच्छा नहीं हो रहा.
But anyway, can you just quickly let's just think of a country and let's go to that country. What do you guys think?
Sure. Let's go to Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan, where Timur is from.
Okay, this is a video, it says.
Yeah.
2 videos.
Oh, 2 videos, wow.
Yeah, a Chinese medical team arrives in Uzbekistan, and the other one is Uzbekistan student donates 15,000 masks to China.
Nice.
Which then they will send to other people.
Yeah, and so this website is actually very cool. I would highly recommend our viewers, our listeners, to check this out. It's on oneworld-stories.org, and basically, so you click on a link, you click on a story, and you can expand it further, maybe into a video, maybe into the article concerned.
How do we know it's authentic? I mean, this internet is a joke, man.
That's true, but this
I'm watching is not real.
I don't know whether these are true or not, but this guy actually relocates
Uzbekistan or Tajikistan or something, where we don't have any verification.
He relocates it to an article, to a supposed article, and then if you look these up, I'm sure you'll find multiple articles.
I think I want to start on my own. Yeah, let's start one of these, no? We just lie from start to finish. We'll give Saudi Arabia a good story. Woman exits car, nobody whips her. Whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just. Whoa, sorry, too much. Nobody's in the room. Okay, I'm good.
Anyway, I just thought that was something fun to share.
That was interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Cool.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
Let's get the AMAs.
Let's do the AMAs. Yes.
The AMAs.
Hey everybody, welcome to another amazing week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money. Guys, it's been a really, really cool week. We've had a ton of interesting stuff come out. We had an episode with Kunal Shah on Cyrus Says. We've had really stellar episodes on Pesa Vesa, Advertising is Dead, Filter Coffee Podcast, on Empowering Series, all over the place. Definitely do check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy what's been going on this week. And with that, let's just continue on with your show.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
All right. This one comes in from Sushant Pawar. Sushant says, hey guys, I'm Sushant Pawar from Navi Mumbai. Amit, Kavita and all the IVM team members, thank you so much for starting such an interesting company and its shows. I'm a regular listener and I love all 3 of Cyrus's shows. And I listen to Advertising is Dead, Pesa Vesa. He has listed all these shows that he listens to us, and
nice.
Thank you so much, Sushant.
I have 2 questions. Does he have Uncle Pleasant in that list?
He
don't overdo it, Amit. No?
Does not.
How does he going to praise you? He has no idea Tushar is on the show.
But I see Tushar is on the show, right? So I want to.
Yeah, correct.
He lives in Nerul. मैं उसके घर पे जाके उसको सुना के आऊँ.
You just shout from the window. If there's no loci.
That is my approach to increasing listenership. Just go to everyone's house.
Direct dealership.
Okay, nice. So yeah, Sushant, please check out Uncle Pleasant. He says, I have 2 questions for Cyrus. Number 1, you have always labeled yourself as a chippo. But do you feel if MTV/theatre could have paid you enough during the early days in your career?
That's an insult. Yeah, go on.
I know. I've heard this. You like just call yourself like a...
Wait. Aisha, am I cheap? Am I a cheap person? Well, you couldn't hear her. Okay.
But I'm sure we know what the answer is.
Okay, so I don't know if I'm a cheap person, but for myself, I don't like to spend money. Yeah. But it's not like I'm cheap. I have to spend on other things I do. But I'm not very into material things. Oh, that sounds like I'm a great man. No. What I mean is, but I don't like to... I don't know if you all can hear my wife, but she's spelling out CHEAP with her fingers, trying to emphasize the point. She's doing Donald Trump here, being very clear with the insult. This is my insult. The wife has said the word cheap many times, sounding like a little sparrow. Cheap. But I think I had dated a girl once, lovely girl who I didn't marry, and she said, your problem is you have no consumer mentality. Because you've never gone shopping, you never bought things and all that. And she was right. So I think it's more that. I just don't have a great interest in buying things beyond food. So maybe it's that. But just wear the same clothes doesn't make you cheap. You just I have no interest in fashion. Why should I lie? Whatever I'm not interested in, I'm just not interested in. Like this fucking tech, which now is driving me mad. So, everybody's got their own things, but I really believe that lots of people spend all their life trying to, understand so many different things. If you just focus on the 3-4 things you like, that's good. So I just don't know. I'm just so interested. Why lie and put on a shirt which looks good? Or, like Kunal says, when you're doing Insta, you should do your hair, you should look at the background. I said, forget it. Only an idiot would do that.
Well, you don't need to look at the background, but I saw your Insta yesterday. One thing you should pay attention to is don't backlight yourself.
Oh, I didn't backlight
You backlit yourself completely. You were in silhouette when I was watching your Insta yesterday.
Yeah, apparently. They told me later, but it was too late.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we've gone off the topic about cheap, not about how bad I am at directing.
Well, no, you're talking about tech, so I thought I should I should chime in.
Amit, do you think I'm cheap?
Not particularly. I think you're fantastic.
No,
you're doing this show for as little money as you have.
That's not cheap. That's taking a punt. That's different. Cheap
I think it's just you being a comedian and being self-deprecating, and that's being a part of it.
No. I'll tell you, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so it's a really different generation. So we grew up very clearly. You go to a restaurant, you see the right side of the menu. We always did that. I can't understand today's guys who just order things. You don't look right. I mean, we look at lobster and it would be per kg, and I'd say one day, egg din, because what the hell is that's so scary? Lobster per kg.
What happened if you go to one of those restaurants that don't even have the price on the menu?
But I normally go with Kunal, so I'm never under pressure.
Been sorted.
That's simply done. But yeah.
So I don't get this logic of cheap here. I mean, in the sense also, like, if you don't like to spend, you don't like to spend. It's not like you're skimping on like the essentials of life.
That's what.
Yeah, of course.
No, there's no passion for certain products, and also I have no interest in electronics, and I won't buy things. What can I do? I don't care about phones. Other people, when we're sitting around the gym talking in the morning, they all show their phones and discuss it for half an hour. And I can't.
Who buy new phones every year? Like every time a new iPhone comes out, they'll get the new one.
Well, they keep discussing the features and all that, because there's passion. So even if they're not buying that week, they keep talking about things. Yeah. Like Amit is crazy about tech and both hardware and software.
No, but not really. I don't buy phones that often. I'm not a phone person. I like tech from like a more theoretical perspective. I like to know about tech. I like knowing.
So you're a real nerd, is what you're saying.
I phones and stuff. I think my phone I've had for like a year and a half now.
Yeah. You're the fifth guy in Big Bang Theory, the one that's just out of the frame.
So Sushant's second question, that was his first question. His second question is, you always share fun drinking stories and mistakes that you have done during your drinking days. Now, since you have 2 kids, how are you planning to handle drinking with them? And what precautions will you take if needed?
Yeah, I'm a little worried that both of them are slightly extreme personality like I am. And that's the problem is what the personality is. The extreme personality is the worst personality of all because whatever you do too much. So otherwise it's okay. Maya, are you going to drink too much when you grow up? She's saying no for now. But you know how life is. This is supposed to be 2020 is a good year, by the way, guys. Count this as a good year. We have no idea what 21 is. So I'm damn scared. I'll just address that quickly. I don't think Tushar, are you a parent?
No.
Your father?
No, I'm not.
Not yet. Okay. So that fear that you have for children is scary. Until you become a parent, you won't understand. You don't have that fear for yourself because I drank like a madman. I used to put my foot out and drive. I've broken rules. I've jumped out of a moving car. And I'm not the only one. There were lots of sickos in the city.
Oh, yeah. We did a lot of stupid stuff.
We did a lot of stupid things. But if I think for a second my kids are doing this, I won't be able to sleep at night. So no bike for my son because we just can't. Imagine if he's on a bike after 6 in the evening, every minute you'll be sweating and just holding a towel.
No, and the worst part is we've done this, so we have the knowledge. That's what they will be out doing.
We already stood up. So bad luck to them.
Also, a lot of our parents who didn't do a lot of this shit.
Yeah,
so they didn't know. They're like, bahar gaye hain. They're sitting with their friends and they're watching TV or something.
Tushar, you are absolutely right. We are the last generation, the one before Silvery, who drink and drive. Nobody thought about it. Amit and me are the last generation to drink and drive.
Yeah.
We didn't think about it. Whoever was on the wheel was drinking. He was passing the drink. If it was bar in the car,
college, everyone did it because it was just one of those things where you didn't think about it all.
Yeah.
For us, I'm at a nightclub and we're talking to people and a group is out and we're like, you know what? I think I've had too much to drink. Let me I'm going to head home. I'm going to drive home now. I've had too much to drink. I'm going to drive home. Yeah. That was the way that you thought about it, right? I've had too much, so I need to get back. And it's just like it blows my mind right now that we would even think like that.
Yeah.
I think about the ways that I put people in cars, actually put them in cars so that get home, right? Thinking I'm doing a good thing.
Yeah.
It was a very different time.
And we would designate the guy who's most frustrated in the night, which is all of us, because the girls never said yes. But the one who's the most frustrated is let him drive, because he'd have the most aggro and take it out in the car. Hey, vodka de do, banjo. Yeah, so that was question number 1. Uncle, please sit. Don't go anywhere. Next.
Yeah, the next one comes in from Nitin Hadale. He says, "Hi Cyrus, Amit, Silvery and guest.
Hello.
I have been listening to your podcast in the last 2 years. Great podcast. Thank you for producing it. My question is, coronavirus doesn't affect 70% of young and healthy individuals. About 25% people need medical assistance and about 3 to 5% people need ICU and ventilators. With hospitals almost overcrowded in Mumbai and private hospitals charging over 25,000, there's a constant fear to even get this disease. As what if I fall into 25% category where I need medical assistance, or the 3 to 5% where I need ICUs and ventilators?"
Silvery, he forgot to mention the ambulance in Mumbai, which is absurd. Some of the pricing on ambulances. And remember, when you need them, that's the one that's available. Sorry, exactly.
So that's what his question is. So is this the survival of the fittest that we are seeing, and do we just have to move on?
Financially fittest, yeah. I think one thing that all the governments are trying to do around the world also is that you localize as much as you can. If it's not a very bad case, you stay at home, you medicate as much as you can, because after some time in cities like Mumbai, how will they cope? I mean, whatever the figures are now, if they were to double, I mean, how will we cope? We just physically, logistically can't cope. But I'll let Amit decide. He'll use his sharp mind to explain the situation better.
I mean, you got to be careful, but at the same time, you have to understand that this is with us for a while, right? I mean, like, what's the best case scenario? Best case scenario we are hearing is that there might be a vaccine sometime towards the end of the year.
Yes.
That's supposedly the best case scenario. That means a vaccine is developed at the end of the year. That doesn't mean that a vaccine comes into people's hands at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
You still need to get vaccines created. You need to
there'll be a buffer period after that of
you need to get them into. How are you going to distribute them into people's hands? It's going to take time. It's not going to happen immediately. Now, there are 2 options. Option number 1 is wait until that happens. Till then, everybody sit at home. In which case, we all starve. Option number 2 is get into life. Figure out ways that are doable, things that are doable. Not everything is, right? Like there's no way that they should open these religious things, right? I mean, these religious gatherings should not be open.
He's not going to let that go.
No, I will not, because it just strikes me as like the single dumbest policy thing that you could possibly do, right?
There's option 3.
Who is going to religious stuff also? Cyrus, think about who goes to these religious things. It's all people who are at risk.
No, but but the desperation sends you. The same reason why you go when you lose a job.
But I look at, so you go to
case, get a girl to marry.
You look at a lot of the people in lines at temples and stuff like that. They're all people who are at risk, people over 60. Right? I mean, like, not all of them, but, it's a big proportion of the people who are going to these temples and stuff like that.
Yeah, the infection rate will be so much higher there because just the gatherings are so...
It is. And then you choose God over science, and then you better, accept that's the deal now.
Right. So you have to open stuff, but you have to open stuff smartly. Don't open...
but there's a third option with vaccines, that you only give the vaccines to the rich. So that...
Which is what's going to happen first anyway.
Definitely going to happen, Cyrus.
Garib Desh, gone forever.
Yeah.
But it may not be the most humane thing to do.
No, but that is, Cyrus, the fact that when I was talking about the challenges of distribution, I was trying to say that without saying that, right? It's basically the vaccines are first going to go...
Even...
You Valkeshwar elite, never suffered in my day. Now servant is gone. I'm cleaning the house.
So listen, you and I probably know enough people that if the vaccine comes, all of us will get it fairly quickly, right?
It happened with the masks. It happened with the masks. So when the PPEs and the masks started sort of getting produced here and started coming to India, a lot of them were apparently automatically heading towards like the rich people, the connected people.
Yeah.
At least that's what some reports claimed.
No, but that's what's going to happen in all of the situations, right? In every kind of single situation, it is going to be like that. So, and listen, the fact is that there's no getting around it, right? No matter what we try, we can get around it because today, let's say you decide to lottery the vaccines that are created. Okay. And the winner is somebody who is making 6,000 rupees a month. Now you go to that person and tell you, I will pay you $1.5 lakh for your vaccine. Is he not going to give it to you?
True. Maybe for less. But
I'm just saying that, we live in a world where this is going to happen. So we have to plan for this.
Amit, there's one question you're not addressing, and I think you should. And that is, if and when the vaccine comes, do you take it in the ass or in the arm? Because that's a huge issue for me.
Okay.
In the ass or in the arm? Silvery?
So flu vaccine is generally in the arm.
Do you like it in the ass?
I love it in the ass, so let's do that.
Just to be clear, we have you on record, my young friend. We have you on record. Science, congratulations.
Suddenly, Silveri's DMs are full of invitations now.
Oh, no, scratch that. I'm going to have that cut. It's going to be edited out.
Yes. Antariksh finally started putting his Twitter account on the Cock and Bull post. Till now, he was just calling himself Silvery. Now, I think last time I saw that they finally put you put your name on the Cock and Bull Twitter thing. So now,
but Silvery is very catchy. Why you have no idea? Maybe one day.
Called Silvery?
Oh, it's on to episode 17, episode 154, episode 169.
Short answer, his brother's name is Goldie. And his parents were thinking of a name for him, and Silvery was one of the options, which was not picked, but we like it better.
Shit, your brother must feel betrayed, no? Like, he got Goldie, Antariksh and all that. Full.
Yeah.
Sir Antariksh.
His actual name is Anirudh. And, but it's Goldie at home, and I'm Antariksh, but Richie at home. Because Goldie Richie just flows better than Goldie Silvery.
This is a beautiful thing about Punjabis. You can't take the Punjab out of them. They come wherever, somewhere in Powai. You hear names like Silvery, Goldie, Richie. You know where they are. Lucky. All right. Speaking of which, are we wrapping up or one more?
Let's do. Do you have one more, Ankuresh? Or
we have one more, and we have a couple of birthdays to wish as well.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so this is sent in by Shubham Sharma. First, we will wish the birthdays to his Jiju and Didi. So Lalit, his birthday is on 5th of June. That's his Jiju. And Shalu is on 16th of June. Very close together. And so very happy birthday to them.
Good news, bad news. Good news close together. Bad news still under lockdown. Okay. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Generally in life it's a single party. So that's, I think, good news.
Really? Yeah.
Shubham's question is, hi Cyrus, says team and guest. Regular listener to your show. I listen to it while cooking and cycling and look forward to Cock and Bull episodes.
Cooking and cycling at the same time? Now that is interesting.
Cooking and cycling.
that should be on that Good Stories website.
Yeah. I'm a student in Germany and Corona situation here is much better and dealt in a much better way. My question to you and your team is...
And by that you mean bars are open. Yes.
My question to you and your team is... which city would you want to visit when these things normalize? My picks are Amsterdam, Munich, and Mohali. That is my hometown.
Mohali, because Amarinder has been quite dynamic. I'm quite a big fan. I would go Western Europe, Eastern Europe, definitely. I think they just handle things better.
But is he asking it from a perspective of like viruses, or is he asking
No. So
just like where you want to
be free. The virus is gone. So where would you like to be?
I've been there and I love that city. I'll go there again.
Yeah.
Which one?
Amsterdam. I've been there.
We'll go together, man. Nice.
Yeah, it's the most chill, best city ever.
Yeah.
With nice people and just good seats.
And all the men staring at the women in the glass brothel things are all brown-skinned men. And that's, you feel...
but that's brown-skinned men
Silvery, Goldie, Bobby, Lucky, all around you.
Yeah, no, that's brown-skinned men anywhere. Wherever they are going, they are looking at.
Including for little boys? Bizarre. Uncle, answer the question.
I remember, I had gone to Amsterdam with my mother. It's what it is. I'm not even making this up. So I got to Amsterdam with my mother because she really wanted to see Europe, and Amsterdam is one of the cities that we were staying in. And I remember just walking by one of these sex toy stores, and it's just the entire outside. There was like a gang of 15 older ladies just standing and pointing at different dildos. Like, oh, that one looks good. Oh, that one is nice. Oh, this one is pretty great. And I was like, wow, dude, this is so bizarre and cool.
But you could have offered much more, Silvery.
I mean, yeah, but then I went to the red light district and got younger meat. No, I didn't. I'm just joking. Sorry.
No, but
just don't tell me mom, like a good Panju boy, mom came along. Just don't tell me that.
बेटा देखोगे red light district चलती बेटा. But Amsterdam I feel is like the truly enlightened city, because I remember when we all went to the red light district to see the whole place. There was that red light district stuff. There was a crash. There were gourmet restaurants.
Restaurants everywhere. Yeah,
this place, everything is chill.
And people on cycles. It's a big cycling culture. Huge.
That's scary, apparently. They tell you to be very careful because they'll run you over.
They're very aggressive, and they're aggressive with the cars as well. It's like our right of way. And it is apparently. Yeah, Amit, you haven't said which place.
I don't know. I think I would like to go to is a place I've never been or a place I've been to before. I guess place I've been to before I'd go to New York, right? I mean, if COVID is gone, New York's the place I'd like to go. That's my favorite place to go.
Okay. Silvery?
Yeah, I think Amsterdam and New York both sound great.
New York also.
Yeah.
So nobody I love a city in India. Nobody.
Well, I mean, we live in Bombay, right? I mean, what else is there in India?
Talk about prejudice, racism, sexism.
This was just like kind of playing into
the lovely.
I was playing into the IVM stereotype, right? I mean, like apparently that's what people say about us, that we're a Bombay-only network.
Yeah.
So
are we?
Well, we're not. We have some Delhi stuff. We have some Bangalore stuff.
There's New Bombay also.
There is.
Hey, stop it.
I'm sure.
All right. Speaking of New Bombay, now it's time for me to go and eat lunch. Even though I'm sure when you listen to this, it'll be much later in the day. So shall we wrap up, boys?
Yeah, I think we're good. Yep.
All right. We'll see you soon. Days under lockdown continue. See ya. Bye-bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps, please. We beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Hi, I'm Satyajit.
Hi, I'm Racheta.
We are from the Open Library Project and we host a podcast called Paperback.
Paperback is a podcast where we engage with stalwarts and experts from various industries, suggesting non-fiction titles that contributed to their journey in a big way.
We've had guests like Anjali Rana, Dr. Marcus Rani, Dr. Swati Lodha, Ambi Parmeswaran, Apurva Damani, and many more on our show Paperback. Find new episodes every Wednesday on IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Are you constantly seeking happiness? Wondering how to make the most of every day? How not to let your inhibitions stop you from achieving your goals? It's now time to get your A game on. It's time to unlock your true potential. Tune in to the Empowering series with me, Zarina Poonawalla, to feel empowered in all genres of life. From behavioral skills to management skills. From health to relationships. From mental well-being to emotional well-being. And of course, your finances. I've got you covered. With these tips and tricks from me, Zarina, and true life stories from my amazing guests, you're bound to bring your purest to the table. Tune in to the Empowering series with Zarina Poonawalla every Thursday on the IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you listen to podcasts.